Yep, it's saying it's now streaming on live on YouTube.
Okay, I think we're right.
Excellent.
So I won't need to record at this moment then because we're on YouTube. So I'll just leave that. All right. So welcome.
Welcome, guys.
I'll just put a post up if you'd like to. Okay, I think we're right.
Excellent.
So I won't need to record at this moment then. Hang on one sec. I'll just YouTube. So I'll just leave that. All right.
That's interesting. I'm
Welcome.
getting a huge echo coming through me. I don't know what's
Yeah,
going
that
on.
was me. That's because I had the live up on thing. Now I've got it
Oh,
right.
okay, right.
Okay, Matthew, if you'd like to just introduce while I just quickly put a thing
Sure,
up, post up on Facebook.
no problem. Hey, guys. So my name's Matthew Greenwood. I've been doing spiritual work based in South Australia for the last 33 years. And a little bit of my history, so you know who I am, where I come from, and what I do, in 20 words or less. Not possible, but I'll do my best. So I work as a shaman. I do shamanic work. I literally help a lot of people to clean up their energy, remove negative energy, entities, beings, um, help to release trauma, emotional trauma energy that they're holding on to, um, which gets locked in their space, particularly from childhood, things that have happened back then. Um, I teach shamanism. I'm actually going to be coming over to New Zealand in about 3 weeks. I'll be one of seven speakers, I believe, at a conference in New Plymouth, and it's called Beyond Boundaries. That's the name of the event. Then I'll be teaching level one shamanism. I'll be doing a free talk at the uh, New Plymouth Spiritualist Church, and one-on-ones, readings, trauma release, talk on guides and galactic beings, and yeah, all kinds of things. And that I'll be over in New Zealand for about 7 weeks all up, and so that'll keep me busy, um, and out of mischief, and well, maybe not completely out of mischief, but I'll I'll um, I'll be working, and so yeah, looking forward to that time coming up, and yeah, so we'll be up to a lot of things. Doing a big retreat too, shamanism retreat, which is a biggie for me. 8 day retreat. I'll be running sweat lodges, teaching shamanism on three full days, but there'll be shamanic teachings through the whole 8 days. Um, you'll be making a drum and a rattle, and yeah, going through all kinds of things, meditation and connecting with guides and all sorts of fun stuff. So, but the sweat lodges will be fun.
Mm.
So yeah, that's me in a very much in a nutshell. I should say too, I have spent time since 2001 on and off over in Rosebud Indian Reservation, living there and staying over there. I was even running tours for a few years, taking small groups over to the Lakota reservation, and great people, beautiful people, and great experiences over there. So that's a part of what I've been doing since 2001 also. And so it's been a full life. Um, and this is what I do full time, obviously. So I've got more, Mandy, if you want. I don't
Beautiful.
I don't want to just speak about me.
No, that's gorgeous. Thank you. And yeah, we're all set here on the YouTube
Beauty.
channel. So I will just no, I just want to move that. So just also to introduce myself, for those of you who don't know me, and I don't know why it's not going on to speaker now. I'll turn it back to gallery. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Mandy, and I am in New Zealand, in Whangarei, which is up in the north end of the North Island. I hold and host 3 different chat shows and highlight the pioneers who have been here serving this planet and humanity for many, many years. So that's one of them. The other is a topic type chat show where we discuss different topics and have different guests in with those topics. And basically sort of bringing an eye into what's been created here in this world, a sense of the new world coming in together and pulling together and what's being created. But for me, I'm a cellular memory practitioner. I also assist those with their spiritual and just life development. So I'm an educationer in that respect. Also do that shadow work with everyone, so helping and assisting people through their emotional patterning and programming. Also help in the respect with the entities or shadow self within the land properties, you know, and personal in respect to anyone who may need assistance in that way. I do assist a lot of the parents with their children and helping them to bring them into a space where they're not having the nightmarish dream states and the fear of going to sleep, seeing energies and entities within the house and their realm. So I sort of help them with that type of thing, bring a bit of calm in the household. Lots and lots and lots. I do a lot of workshops, a lot of self-development classes and, you know, self-empowerment classes, lots of things. So today we're going to definitely welcome you all in and thank you all for tuning up and thank you for taking this time to just share with us, because it's a very, I know you'll all know this, but it's a very important time on the planet and with humanity and for humanity. In fact, all beings on this planet and universe, really. So we would like to just go over a bit of that with you all, and you know, for me, I see things that I get a bit of clarity on and bring forward, and Matthew also does. So we thought it'd be a nice time to share some of that. Also take you through, Matthew's going to take you through some of the grounding techniques that he uses. And towards the end of this program, I'm going to assist you in to a rejuvenation tank within the earth, within this beautiful body of hers. So if you hang in with us, we'll be going through all of that. So I will just hand it over to Matthew, and Matthew can bring us up to speed with a bit of the energy stuff that he's seeing, recognizing and knowing.
Okay. So probably need to go back a few years to where this started. So roughly about 15 to 16 years ago, there began a raising in frequency. So this raising in frequency is environmental, not just to the Earth, but to this part of the universe. What that's driving is spiritual growth on the planet, but it's also driving a breaking down of old systems too. It's why you're seeing a lot of difficulties going on out there in mainstream world. Systems I'd classify as mainstream systems that are here and that society has accepted as something that is part of our culture, but really there are fundamental energies underneath these systems that are not for our highest good, and they're also falling apart. There's an old rule with shamanism that once you start to impact low frequency energy with enough high frequency energy, then that low frequency energy falls apart, which is what is happening for all of us. So a lot of us are having experiences of old emotional energy coming up to the surface. So we need to clear that when it does. Otherwise, that creates internal conflict. Um, and this is the sort of thing that's going on worldwide. I've got clients all around the place in America, and as well as obviously Australia, New Zealand, and so everyone's feeling the same stuff. Everything that's going on in New Zealand or in Australia, it's being felt around the world. So that's ongoing. So we're in a cycle of growth, which is called it's the prelude to what's known as the golden age of humanity. So we've got another roughly 79 to 80 years to go of this raising in frequency. So it hasn't stopped now. It's going to continue to increase, and this will be shifting a lot of stuff in us. But it's also opening up our abilities too for those that are able to ground their energy. And this is the biggest problem now. A lot of people are having a tough time trying to keep their energy connected to the earth. And because, as I said before, when you're impacted enough with with high frequency energy, and you've got any low frequency energy sitting within your system, then that's going to be bubbling up to the surface. So that's what's getting in the way sometimes of life. And it has a tendency to unhinge us. And we've certainly been in a wave of that over the last few weeks. Really, it's been going on for about a month. And so I think pretty much everyone has had some sort of experience around life being difficult. And and this is where grounding really comes into its own, because it's not just about grounding, it's also about getting your frequency high as well. So I guess I don't want to say the icing on the cake, but it kind of is in one way. It depends on which way you look at it. The icing on the cake is also that not only are we getting this raising in frequency going on consistently, we're also getting waves of high frequency energy coming in these days. That's been going on for about the last 4 to 5 years. And that in itself seems is what we're in at the moment. Um, my belief is we're in the process of starting to come out of that. We're still in it, but seems to be that next couple of weeks is going to be a bit of relief, and we'll feel a shift in that energy, which gives us a window to be able to look at that stuff that's going on internally, that's creating internal conflict, to deal with that, clear it out of our system, and then we're ready for the next wave of energy that's coming in. There's one thing I can say now that before, say, if you go back about even 5, 6 years ago, um, you'd generally be able to suppress if you were good at suppressing emotions, um, people could still get away with not dealing with stuff and being able to push it down. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to run or hide anymore. And so, look, part of this journey for me, when I first started, I knew I had to deal with any emotional stuff that came up to the surface. Otherwise, I'm not walking my talk, because this is what I do to help other people. And by clearing your space, you're creating a better person within yourself. The more emotions you clear from your system, and this is such an impactful time. Um, we need to be getting, for us to be getting the best out of what's happening now, we need to have our energy system integrated into the Earth's energy system. This is what it's all about. The Earth has an energy system, we have one. Our energy system should be integrated right down to the core of the Earth. And because we're no different to a car or a house electrical system. If if we if we're not sorry, if a house or a car isn't earthed properly, then fuses blow. Um, well, we have the same thing go on. If we're not earthed properly, then what looks like our fuses blowing is mental disturbance, physical, emotional, spiritual disturbances in our system. And um, so we just need to be earthed, and that's pretty much it. And look, there's never just one way to do this. I've been working on this grounding exercise that I do now, and show my clients how to do. Oh, all the time I've been working. I've been tweaking it, getting it down to a very short process. Once you've done it a few times, you should be able to do this process in about four or five breaths. Um, and you can't get much better than that. And this is what will hopefully help to stabilize people's energy. And but I realize that my grounding exercise isn't going to be for everyone. Everyone's got their own version of it, and that's good. Whatever works, as long as it's working. That's the big thing. So
Yeah. And I think too, you know, these high energies that we've been in and are in are really bringing us, I don't know why it's not switching, but anyway. So like you say, it's very easy to be in that sort of, it's that eruptive stuff, you know, things coming up, and really, if you're not grounded, that can become very chaotic. You know, it can create such a chaotic mess around you if you're not grounded in, and you're not you know, being really present as well. Because if you're present, when you're really present with self, what you see and you start realizing is, before it comes to that place, that you start recognizing the feelings, the emotions, the situation, you're assessing it, you're aware of why, what's, and how it's all working out. And it gives you an opportunity to be able to respond rather than react. And it gives you an opportunity to take a breath before responding, so that you come back with something that is, and sometimes there's nothing to respond to. Sometimes you come into that really neutral space that allows you to actually shift the whole thing within a moment, and not create into something that we've always done the same way, and create it and keep creating it and keep creating it back in. So it moves it into a space that gives you that neutrality, where you are creating from a new space now, and it's and allowing that to actually move on, whatever that was, whatever that pattern may have been that was showing up. So it's grounding's really important in being able to be present, and to be able to take a breath before you actually respond to something. And if there's actual reaction, and you don't get that pause, and you haven't got that time to take a breath and assess it, then there's emotional triggering, and that there is wounding from past. And that's where we'd go back to have a look at what that is, which is also threads and plugs into that 3D realm, if we want to call it that, or the matrix, as a lot of people call it. It's where are the threads? If there's wounding still there, we're still playing into the old separation game, the old separation patterns and program. And so therefore it's about looking at what those patterns are, and clearing them up, clearing the emotional wounding, so that we can move through into a new space and create from that, which is what we're seeing a lot of. But, you know, at the moment, it feels like there's been this real pressure around over the last, I want to say 2 weeks, but it feels like it's sort of, we're coming out of that. And that's what I'm sort of hearing, is around this date, we're actually moving through a lot, but that's because 3 planets have gone into Aquarius. And that's your, and I don't do a lot of astrology stuff, but when I see it and when I'm feeling something and the astrology comes through, it's like, oh my God, that so fits. And it's becoming, I think, more and more clear to all of us how this really is. The planets really have that effect, and the way that they've been read, or their purpose in being around. Because whatever the story might be around what Pluto means and what Mars means, it's like it's all actually playing out like that. So Mercury, Mars, and Venus have all come into Aquarius with and it's like the Pluto is very much a part of what's going on at the moment, and Pluto is the lord of destruction and rebirth. So there's this, that's where this eruptive type of energy is. Like there's so many things that have been, even in my world, coming in from around me that are sort of like poke, and it's almost like, whoa, if I want to, I could really go into that and create some of my old stuff. So it's like there's these people around me that are just really firing up. It's like this firing up. And that sort of energy for me is definitely about looking within myself, because why is it around me? If it's here, it's mine, it's somewhere in me. And so this destruction and rebirth, this lord of the underworld is Pluto, and he's sort of meeting Mars, Mercury, and Venus at the gates of this Aquarian, stage. And so there's this underlying movement of clearing out, rebirthing, and destroying whatever it is that's there, that's holding you in these spaces that are not where you wish to be, not part of what your part of the old program, but what you just don't require any longer. And so Mercury is how we communicate and think. And so there's a lot of brain, like people, like there's a lot of mental stuff going on. And again, that might be where you're finding this feeling like, God, my brain, like somebody said to me the other day, we were going to have a chat, and she said, can we leave it till tomorrow? My brain's not working today. Like it just wasn't functioning how she would have usually functioned. And there's this tiredness in the brain. And I felt like that was part of the nervous system, part of why we're in such a state with our nervous system and needing to really have rest and calm. Because if you look at the last 4 years with this COVID era, we had a lot of information coming in. We were overloaded with information, and that overloading, I mean, that was all brain work, it was all mental work. And it was sifting through everything and finding out what fitted you and what didn't fit you and all of that. And I feel now the brain is just tired. It's like it's been used too much. It's gone to the gym too many times. And it's like it's wearing out, in a sense, wearing out of the old anyway. And so the nervous system's a bit on edge. But the Mars is about how we take action. And so in some cases, like I was saying about reaction, if we've got Mars poking in there, it's like with Pluto, who's the lord of destruction and rebirth. So if we're looking at the action, with the way that we've taken action in the past, or have we not taken action? Because I know there's a big push that I got to put out alive around, it's time now to actually move ourselves. So from what I gather and the way that I'm seeing things or being shown them, is that our timelines, the only way we can describe it really to get an idea, is that these worlds are now splitting. There was a point in there I felt where we were going to merge. This old body and the new body were going to merge, just like we're sort of doing with our own bodies and integrating through. But there's a point now where it feels to me, and I keep getting this messaging from different ones too. I'm just randomly finding interviews and people saying the same sort of thing, where these worlds are now not integrating anymore. They're actually separating. And this is why I felt 3 weeks ago this real push and coming through from council that it's about actually taking action now. What world do you wish to live in? And if you're still sitting on a fence, if you're still putting, one foot still in this one and one foot's in this one, and you keep swinging between, and part of you somehow is enjoying that in whatever way it might be, then it's time to look at that. And maybe you're not enjoying it. Maybe it's really uncomfortable being in that world, in that old world, in the old way that we might react to everything and how we did it all. And maybe that is uncomfortable, but you're not moving out of that. So therefore, this is the time now. It's really time. And I kept getting this like an urgency. And it made me want to yell at everyone, like so that they actually heard. And so there's this urgency now to step out, choose where you wish to be, because it felt like to me, the way that I'm getting it is that it's going to be harder, and harder might not be the word, but maybe more, there may be more chaos for you if that's not. And I know that sounds like we're trying to scare you into moving yourself, but that's really what I can feel. It's like that world that we're seeing, that when we watch the news at night, if you watch this silly old news, it's like that world there that you're watching out there is really getting more and more chaotic. It's getting more and more ridiculous. It's getting more and more darker. People are jumping out of industries that they've worked in for a very long time, say like family courts. People are jumping out of that now saying, it's not productive anymore. I can't do any good in there. It's not working. So they're now burnt out, coming out of there. Their lights are so dimmed because they're just worn out from trying to keep that moving and make something change in there. So it's like there's so much that's just not shifting, and that there, it's time maybe to jump out of those places now and allow them to do, because we're all still, some are still, trying to rescue this old world, the people in the old world, but everyone's making choice. And now it's time to really make that choice as to what sort of action are you going to take? And have you been sitting, not taking any action, feeling really uncomfortable with where you're at? It's time to make that action, take that action. And Venus is the values. What are our values? And what is it that we care about? So those things are coming up to be reviewed again as well, and reevaluated within our lives, so that we can, again, it's making choice, it's taking some action. And so whatever that might be for you, whatever those things, those ways of living, lifestyles might be being compromised, then how long you're going to allow that to happen. So it's really, really pushing us at the moment to destroy whatever it is, that old parts of ourselves, and really bring ourselves back into who we really are, because that is a constructed, simulated world that we've created, yes, and we didn't realize what we were doing. Now we're aware. So now it's making new choices. So it's be prepared for change, really be prepared for change, because I feel like we're not really going to get much of a choice anymore. Like Matthew was saying, it's really sort of pushing us in these energy flows to really make the change. It's just so much time now is to make the change. That's us. So yeah, I know that those times and those choices sometimes can feel really uncomfortable and hard to make, but every single time I've made them, and I've gone against, pushed through the fear, whatever that might be, or the chatter, we tell ourselves story that stops us from doing things sometimes. And when I've pushed through those, man, it's been the best choice ever. It's always been come through to be the best thing I could have ever done for myself. So it's always worthwhile. And I know that that will be the case with this as well, whatever you choose to do.
Definitely. Look, one thing we can't get away from is humans are habitual creatures. We get used to things being a certain way, but our mind does too. And this is one of the
Yeah.
biggest parts that we fight against internally, is our ego, and our ego in the negative sense. And that's the part that is comfortable with how things are and have been,
Mhm.
not where things are going, because that's the unknown. And so the ego likes to stay in that safety zone. The thing is, we have to learn to change, even if it's just in small ways. What I suggest to people is to get a whiteboard, uh, put up 4 words, one down below the other: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And then look at what you feel you could be doing in your life on those 4 levels to improve. Um, we, the only person that is going to drive us is us. So we need to use some tactics that are going to help drive us forward. I liken this to, I don't know if you guys remember the old Star Trek series, but Spock, when he was playing his game of chess in his room, when he's in his contemplative moods. Um, it's a little bit like that, a multi-level game of chess. It's the one game, but it's 4 games within the major game. And so you could say physical's at the bottom, mental, emotional, and spiritual. If you're winning on one level, it will have some sort of positive effect on the other levels. But if you're winning on all levels, if you're doing constructive things to make change on all levels, then you can't help but win the game. And this is looking at the whole package of everything that we are. Sometimes you need help with that. Um, but there are ways we can do that for ourselves. In my shamanism courses, I teach people how to actually ask their bodies. And I don't mean just physical, but the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. Ask it what it needs to be its best. And each of those bodies will give positive feedback. And it generally comes in one of 3 or 4 ways. It can be vision, words, thoughts, or just a knowing. And it's a great technique to learn to be able to do that. And um, look, I was going to bring it back just a little bit to um, how do you know when you're not grounded? Um, there's one major thing that goes on. It's a bit of a chain reaction, actually, but the major thing is when you're not grounded, you go straight to your head, because generally what happens is when the base chakra is not open, and generally that's because of stress or because of emotional baggage coming up to the surface, and that disturbs the energy system and disturbs that flow that should be there. Um, the first thing that occurs when the base chakra drops out is the mind kicks in. The heart also drops out. Um, on a positive level, for us to be at our best, we should have our heart and our mind working together, in balance. And generally, it ebbs and flows with both when that's working in balance. But the problem is when emotions are coming up to the surface, generally the energy system and the nervous system goes into a bit of panic, and the as the base chakra shuts down, the head's the only thing running the show. The heart normally drops out to a degree. And so when the head's running the show, this is where your thoughts just go round and round in circles, and you seem to be in that distressed state, that anxiety state. And that's where anxiety and depression come from, is base chakra shut down for long periods of time. And so the whole purpose of being able to have some techniques to bring that base chakra open is that can get you back into that space of feeling peace and harmony, which when the base chakra is open, you should feel very much at ease. The mind should be very relaxed. The heart should be open and feeling, and you should feel pretty comfortable with yourself, even though there's chaos going on all around you. If you can hold a good space in that, then that's that tranquility that we all look for, which sometimes not a lot of us find. I can remember what I was like in the early days, pre-spirituality. Yeah, I reckon my life was in a bit of chaos back then, and look through with these surges of energy that come in, it challenges us. It challenges all of us. Uh, I get challenged. But that grounding exercise is there to tap back into, and it does definitely help. It starts to bring that stability back. One of the thing Mandy was talking about before, which just jogged a few things in me. I see energy a fair bit, and when I'm working with someone, we can have these lines of energy that go back to our past. We can have many lines of energy that go back to wounds that we've had. Um, but they're not always active. We can be when we're having a good day, we can be really grounded, really connected, but then those lines of energy turn into something a bit bigger. They actually turn into a wormhole when something has triggered us in present time. And literally what's going on when that line turns into a wormhole, that energy flows through that wormhole back to the wound. And this is where we turn into a child. We turn into the energy that that child and the wounding that that child had comes to the surface. And this is where we change the way we communicate. We change the way we feel, and it's no longer that nice balanced adult that's there. And again, this is an opportune time when that sort of thing's going on to get some work done. And look, um, I don't need to see a practitioner all that often, but I have got one if I do need to. Um, I may not, I can't remember the last time I saw her, but it was probably about 10 months ago. And, we all need someone to be able to trust and open up to. And that
Mm.
trust is a big word these days. But you can feel it when there's someone there, when you're going through stuff. It's important that you do find someone that you can trust because we're not always, a lot of people I know try to do this by themselves when they have got emotions coming up to the surface.
Mm.
Let me tell you something, it's almost impossible at times to do work on yourself when it's really deep stuff that's coming up because you're no longer objective when you're in the middle of those emotions. So you need someone that's clear, objective, and can just see deeper than you can see. And this is where someone helping just can help you to clear it up fairly quickly, generally. I
Mm.
know the more I'm working with clients, particularly as frequency rises, I'm finding the sessions, we're getting so much more done in the session. Um, and quite often the sessions are running quicker than they used to run because we just everything's more vibrant and
Yeah.
there's a lot of shifts happening a lot more quicker. Whereas maybe in the old days, an hour and a half session would be for just one inner child. Now I'm doing up to three, four, five at a time,
Mm.
all with different trauma, but it just seems to be working really fast. I look
Yeah.
at the clock and I think it must be 2 hours that we've been going, and it's an hour or an hour and a quarter or something. It's crazy.
Mm.
Um, but time is certainly seems to be working on our side these days with this higher frequency as well.
Mm.
And so, as much as time is speeding up, um, when we're doing things like sessions where we're running off this higher frequency, it's a lot more dynamic, and things just happen, like I said, quicker. And this is where it gets particularly powerful. Um, and so our energy system is one of the most important things we have. Look, there's something I teach in the shamanism workshops, which I feel is probably quite valuable here. There's something that a lot of even spiritual people don't quite realize. Um, there's two major things that we can't do without. One's oxygen. There's food and being clothed and being housed, that as well. But the major one is oxygen, but the other one's life force. So the lungs take in oxygen, but it's the chakra system that takes in life force.
Mm.
Now, we can't do without either of them. If we stopped taking in life force, then we we wouldn't live. We wouldn't be able to live because that the chakra system is not just feeding some etheric membrane that's around us. It's feeding everything, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, galactic, universally. It's we extend out into so many different levels. Um, the big thing here is if we're not getting life force in a healthy way, then people take it. And you know, you've heard people call those type of people energy vampires. But we've grown up, all of us have grown up with little ways of stealing energy from people. Um, and when you can actually move beyond your personal baggage, you actually move past the need to take energy from people. And this is where, when you're actually living in that space where you're not playing energy games and you're self-sufficient with life force, um, and this would be done through meditation, through breath work, through things like yoga, exercise, martial arts, going for a walk in a forest.
Mm.
Um, Forest is one of the best places to go to get life force and to be grounded. It's just so easy. The plant kingdom um, is there for us. It feeds us with oxygen, but it also feeds us with life force and the ability to ground. Because when you're out there, the frequency is generally a lot higher than in a city, and you've got that ability to connect at such a deeper level, and you find peace very quickly out there.
Mm.
Um, and So nature is one of the best places to be if you're feeling a little bit off or ungrounded. Um, you feel like there's a bit of anxiety, go for a walk in nature along the beach, something like that, because that's sometimes one of the most powerful things you can do to, when you're feeling really wound up and it's maybe a bit hard to do a grounding exercise, a bit hard to hold that together in your thoughts, go to nature first. Get that balance back, that connection back, and then start to bring in your techniques that you know and learn.
Mm. Definitely. And it's just I notice in nature now, having something I might be going through, mentally, just emotionally, whatever it might be, and just the awareness of that, and it's almost like a shedding or a cleansing that happens when you're in that nature, whether it's on the beach, in the seawater, you know, in the bush, whatever it might be, just even out on the lawn in your garden, it just seems to just move it through you
Mm,
way easier than if you're sitting in your room with the curtains closed and you're shutting the world out for a few days. It's that scene, we seem to sort of wallow in that a bit. As
mm,
soon as we move out into that expansive space of nature and the world out there, man, it's beautiful. And it just seems to move it through us a lot quicker,
mm,
just with the awareness of it. It's
definitely.
beautiful. Mm.
And look, other things maybe to look at for you in your life is things like the people you keep company with. Um, some people can be positive, and generally you feel it within a few minutes when you're around someone, and you start to feel like you're sinking in your chair a little, and you're starting to deflate and just slither off the seat of the chair. Um, I think all of us have had that feeling at some point. Um, that's generally a sign that someone is taking your life force. But let's not be the victim to this. We must be allowing that to happen
Mm.
um, if they are taking our life force. So this is where um, we need to make choices. So again, yes, we are habitual creatures, but with spiritual growth, as we grow, not all of us are going to be growing at the same pace. And sometimes um, people get reliant on your energy being around them to maybe pick them up a little bit. Um, Now, as you raise your frequency, you start to feel that more and more. And you will always, everyone always gets to a point where they need to maybe just separate themselves, even for a while, from people they have been hanging around with. Um, it can even be family. Yes, we have to have patience with family sometimes because not all of our family is growing spiritually, and they can be having difficulties. But the best we can do is give them advice. But beyond advice, we can't rescue them, like Mandy said before. We can't do it for them. We can give them ideas, and but it's up to them. And so while they're trying to still pull energy from you, and you're giving them advice and they're not actually acting on it, that's the time to let go and
Mm.
just give them that space to do it for themselves. Um, it's just a matter. This is just comes down to growth, and there's all it's going to do is pull your energy down, and that's not helping you. It's not helping those around you that maybe depend on you, and it's certainly not helping the people, particularly if you're a practitioner, but also if you have other positive friends, um, or you may be in a work situation where you're guiding people. It's really important that you keep your energy up. And as far as humanity goes, there's something much bigger going on here that we have to acknowledge that we're a part of change. Um, Change starts from within us first. It has to start from here. So once we begin that change, it becomes easier for other people around us to make change because they see what's happening for us, and generally that's a great space to be in when without even trying to, you inspire change in others. That becomes very powerful. But
Yeah.
that's you just being a better you, and that's
Mm.
that's all it takes is to bring change.
Absolutely. And sometimes that, I know for myself, I've found it really difficult to not, um, to have to say no. I think no was my biggest thing I needed to learn to say. Um, and in that, not feeling guilty. So for us, it's like, and if we're having issues or we're having, issues around maybe rescuing somebody or rescuing people, then it's looking at what is that need within yourself to, is there a fear of you being the bad guy, of them, thinking you're just the bitch, or what might it be that's sort of preventing you from actually going through with it? And looking at your needs also of what, do you really need them to need you, which is what I know I was like. I needed people to need me. And so, and then getting annoyed because everyone was so needy. It's like this, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? And when I realized, actually just it's about me. It's always about me. It's always about you. So coming back to me, and I realized actually it's not them, it's me. And I really needed them to need me, because that for me was a need for love. So yeah, got onto that, sorted that out, and that dissipates, it moves, it allows them to move into not having to play that out for you as well,
Mm.
because it's all a part of your own programming, and they've come in also to help you with that. So, and play these parts out for you. If we look at them as playgrounds, I've come into your playground to play that out for you, to have a look at you so you can move on from that wounding and that need for love in that way, and whatever the program might be, and move it on, integrate it.
Mm.
And that when I've done the deep dives within myself, I've really seen the change around me with people and those who were in my playgrounds. That's as if it's elevated them on into a completely new space for them to be able to move themselves into their highest good too. So it's a good thing.
Definitely. Yeah.
Mm,
Should I do a grounding exercise now? Do you think?
absolutely. Lovely.
All
Yep.
right. So, guys, if you want to just get yourselves comfortable, um, and rather you weren't laying down, if you can sit up, and what we're going to be doing is a little exercise in connecting with our base chakra. Now, we're also going to connect with a chakra that's right down at the core of the earth, that is our chakra, essentially. It's called our earth chakra. But we have a string of chakras that go right down to the core of the earth. Um, and then I'm going to help you to raise your frequency, and I'll give you a great technique in connecting with internal God force. So when most people think about God or creator, they think of that outside of them, whereas in fact it's inside of us as well. When you can access this high frequency energy from internally, and as you expand that out through your whole energy system, it raises every part of your energy system into a high frequency. And that can be massive in helping you to heal parts of your body, to keep your immune system high, and just keep you healthy in general. So, but it also helps you to clean up. You can use this God force, or core star energy is a technical term for it. You can use this to literally expand out into a space to have a really clean space for your house, for your family, for your work. And everyone that comes into that space feels that high frequency when you're actually utilizing this all the time. So it's pretty cool. There's a, there's a lot I help people with in business too, to do using their business's core star energy or the God force of their business, because that's their baby. That business is their baby. So that's another aspect to it all. So here we go. So if you'd like to close your eyes, and just to start with, nice, deep, full breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Roughly about 3 to 4 seconds breathing in, and 3 to 4 seconds breathing out. But what I'd like you to realize is you're not just breathing in oxygen. You're literally drawing in life force, and it's connecting with the chakra system. And you're feeding the chakra system with these deep breaths. Beautiful. So now, with the next deep breath in, pulling a big gulp of life force in, then with the breath out, imagine moving that life force down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and down into the earth. But continue that same technique for a few breaths. And what eventually happens is you begin to feel either tingling down through your feet or a flow of energy down through your feet. And that tingling is energy, basically. So when that happens, it means that there's energy flowing down through the base and down into the earth at a surface level. So a few more breaths, keeping that same technique of breathing in deep, knowing you're taking in oxygen and life force. The breath out, you're driving that energy, that life force down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and into the earth. Okay, so once you've got that flow happening, That's great. So that's the beginning. It's not everything, it's just the beginning. So now we're going to go deeper. So another deep breath in with the next breath in. And then with the breath out, just driving that life force down through to the core of the earth. Don't worry about distance. Energy moves with intention. So when your intention's there, that's where the energy is. So remember, every breath in is taking in that life force. Every breath out is driving that life force right down to that earth chakra, our deepest chakra and connection to the earth. And what this is doing, this brings us down to a very clean energy. It's a very pure primal energy. It's very powerful. And just continuing that same technique. So when you've connected with that earth chakra, what it feels like when you know you've engaged with it, generally your body starts to feel heavier. And what that is actually your muscles relaxing. And you begin to feel a deeper sense of calm or peace internally. Some people feel a bit of a buzzing all over or tingling all over. Fantastic. Couple more breaths doing that one. For people that haven't connected with that earth chakra, can take a few breaths. All right. Now that you've got that, we're going to shift into a different gear now. So we're going to jump into a much higher frequency. But first, I'd like you to just bring your awareness to your physical body to start with. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey into your physical. I'd like you to realize that our internal energy system goes beyond three-dimensional reality. Our internal energy system or inner universe is huge, very expansive, vast. And it is like a universe. It's massive. What I'd like you to do is to dive your awareness into that inner universe and go right to the core, right to the center of that inner universe within your body. You'll either see, sense, or feel a light or a high frequency energy. I'll wait a little bit for everyone to get there. Some people feel it really quick. Other people can take a little bit longer. I'm just running with the energy that I'm feeling from everyone. Okay, so now that you've got that connection, really all we have to do now is get out of the way of it. I'd like you to just let that light, that high frequency ball of energy in there, rush out from that central point, filling that internal universe. And you, as it comes up to the physical, you'll feel tingling through your body. From that point where you're connecting with the physical externally, acknowledging every cell in your body so that that light, that high frequency God force is touching every cell in your body. What we're going to do next is our energy system is infinite. In a minute, we're going to explode that light out infinitely, but we're going to tweak it with an intention to start with. First of all, knowing that when we do explode this light out, it's going not just through space, it's exploding out through time, space, and all dimensional realities that we exist on. And also any energy that is not yours, that you're holding on to, we're going to direct this energy back to its source, back to wherever it came from. All right, so with those intentions planted in that light, when you're ready, taking a deep breath in, with the breath out, really with everything you've got, push that light out infinitely. Just let it explode out. Do it a few times if you want. As a practitioner working with people, I do this in between every client, at the start of the day and at the finish of the day. But if you work in a workplace where there's lots of people and you have interactions with anyone, it's a great way to finish off the day using this technique. So just feel that space that you're in. The expansiveness. So now, because we are here to talk and to teach and to hear your questions, I will bring you back. So the best way to come back is where we started. So just imagine taking those deep breaths of life force in once again. And with this next breath in, taking a big one. And then with the breath out, pushing that energy down through your body, base chakra, legs and feet, and down into the earth. Bringing your awareness back to your physical. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I would love to hear any comments. If anyone would like to come on. Grant, if you'd like to share or, faces, that's nice.
Yeah, it is nice, isn't it?
Who would like to comment?
It's hard to speak into the void, isn't it? When you don't see people's faces and reactions and all that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How
No, it
did
was
you?
lovely. It was
Yeah,
lovely.
good.
It was really lovely. It was like the deep space of full presence and serenity
Beautiful.
and connection,
Yes.
all of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
really beautiful. Thank you.
my
Mm.
pleasure.
And also great advice, actually, to do this afterward. Yeah, it's
And
really
look,
good.
I share with people, you can use this as a tool before you go into a meeting, because sometimes meetings, the people in there can be a little bit, I don't know, controlling sometimes, and it's a great preparation
Mm,
to do. When you come out of a meeting, it can be a good preparation just to clean up from the energy that might have been flying around in a meeting.
mm,
Um, and But it's just a good way to clean your energy up. at the end of the day anyway. So yeah, thanks for your comments. Anyone else like to share an experience they had? Craig, would you like to?
I'm still just trying to wake up. No, when I went down pretty deep, that was awesome. Thank you. That was really, really relaxing. So I'm feeling quite relaxed at the moment,
Yeah,
bringing myself back. But that was really nice. Thank you.
pleasure. And going down to that earth chakra is very powerful. Like I said, it's a very clean energy down there. Without going into a long conversation around why is it so clean, I'll give you the nutshell version. Um, I think as most people know these days, um, we're not just human DNA. We carry galactic DNA within us. This is something else that's actually activating within our energy system with this higher frequency now. But there's an interesting, in the beginning, when when a major amount of galactic beings were placed here on the Earth, these different species that were put here on the Earth had a lot of internal conflict. They were There were a number of about 32 different species that were placed here on the Earth. It was an experiment, a long-term experiment that was here to help bring balance to these particular beings. It was specified that representatives of each culture, each species, was to observe these beings that were placed here on the Earth and to see how they interacted. Conscious memory was taken away from them, so they were just left with instinct. But what can't be taken away is the conflict that was within them energetically. And so we have, in the string of chakras that go right down to the core of the earth, we have chakras that relate to those different cultures, those different species. And as we're waking up, as that DNA is waking up within us, those chakras that relate to those different species are the energy from those chakras is awakening as well. And it carries conflict in there from the conflict that they'd had for many, many years of wars and fighting. And so we need that primal earth chakra, that one that's deep down, to create a much deeper level of balance for us. It's clearing really quick, I'm finding, but this energy, these chakras, as they open up, that are about 3/4 of the way down to the core of the earth, this can be shaking us up quite a bit. So we need to be relying on that earth chakra, that one's deep down, and that's why that one's so important. And it really helps people to find peace and more expansiveness too. It's not just the core star energy or that God force, it's actually that earth chakra that helps you to find that expansiveness too. So
And
cool.
just Grant, you're on mute. I saw you trying to say something there, but you're actually muted.
Oh.
One of the things I would just bring into that too is when you're grounding in, just have your intention to be in the higher body of Earth, in her higher being. This old Earth that we were, the old body, carries those memories and all that old trauma and things in it. And I know for myself, it was making me sick. So my body was actually becoming more like harder to walk, my hips, my knees, my feet. It was actually, yeah, really. And once I clicked with her help that it was me actually grounding into the old body of her, which it wasn't necessary for me to be there any longer, and connected into the higher body, everything in my body started coming right, like instantly, my knees, hips, and people were commenting on how well my movement was, you know, much more movement in my body, etc., to the point that it had actually made me vomit when I was tuning into the planet, into New Zealand land down in the Hawke's Bay when Gabriel hit, and I was going in to clear some energy there. And yeah, it was heavy. So realized then that was the actual part that made me see that we were, you know, connecting into the old body, and that was making us ill. So just, yeah, make sure that you're doing it in the higher body. So Grant, you had something?
I was just going to say that the grounding into the earth was extremely powerful for me. And interesting what you said about grounding into the right body. That might explain some of my leg injuries and some ongoing health issues, which I need to address. And so that's quite a helpful comment for me. Thank you. And thanks, Matthew. That was a really nice experience. I really enjoyed that. It was
Fantastic.
great.
Thanks, Grant.
Cheers.
Pleasure.
Beautiful. Yeah, because, you know, the emotional work's been done on my body in those places. And every time I went in to see what the emotional work, there must be something still there that I can't, you know, move the way I used to move. And it was getting worse, like weekly. I was getting worse and worse to the point where I had to stand for a minute before I could actually make movement. You know, if I'd been sitting, it was like, whoa, this is crazy. I don't like this. So yeah. And whenever I tuned in to go in to see what the emotional program might be in it, I kept getting earth. I just kept getting told earth. And like I said, it wasn't until I made that trip down to the Hawke's Bay, and as I was heading down, tuning in more and more to that, I had to stop on the side of the road, and I was violently ill. And that has never ever, I've never had energy work on me like that. And then I realized it was like all just came together in one moment, realized what was going on.
Great. Well, personally, I've never had an experience quite like that. I was wondering if you actually were helping to clear the Earth's energy.
Definitely was. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That was for sure. And that's another thing that we tend to do is a lot of, you know, us pioneers, you know, we've learned how to hold high energy, and we've learned how to hold a lot of that high energy. And we know the journey we've been on in releasing the patterning and the emotional programming within us as well, which has been the pattern of the planet, of course. And so with that, what we've been doing also is holding huge amounts of that energy and those patternings and certain particular patterns that we might be holding, and illness, disease, whatever it might be, and maybe showing up with that, but that we're holding in a huge level for humanity. So some of it is very impactful in the sense that when you go in, you might be doing some of your own personal, and then all of a sudden there's a really deep dive and it's a really big cleanup. And on that particular, you know, topic, that particular situation or feeling, emotional program that you might be going into and have gone into. And then all of a sudden, and this is what I'm seeing at the moment in practicing with many clients and all around the world even, I'm getting different ones from all over the place who have been teachers and healers for a very long time, and now coming in to do some of the big deep dive. They've actually been taking time off, haven't been able to work for 3 or 4 months, and just haven't had the capacity within them to take on anything other than do some of the emotional work that they're sitting in. But what's happened is they've gone in going, but I've done this work on this, but I'm saying, well, it's still there. So there's still something else. So in that deeper dive, what's happened is there's been a huge burst through. And I knew it was all for this. It was holding energy for humanity. It was on a major level. So So that's sort of what I'm seeing in the clean out area now, is that there's a lot of us who have been holding this type of space for everyone to move through. So if you look at us as, you know, if we might term ourselves healers, or, you know, whatever we might class ourselves as, we're space holders. That's what we're doing. We've been holding space for humanity for the whole time we've been here on the planet in this lifetime. And so in that holding space, we've been holding space for humanity to move through their programs. And so, of course, ours, which are connecting, that's all connected. And of course, the old body of Gaia, Papatunuku, whatever we want to call her, we've been holding her as well, and her us. So in that holding space, now it's time for a big cleanup. That's what I keep getting. And this is what I'm seeing in many of those that are turning up for me at the moment. They're very much in that deep dive, and it's a really big, like, whoa. And it's so yeah, it's just the sort of pressing things that might be coming up in, you know, all of a sudden, like there's waves of stuff, you know, all of a sudden there's big waves on the children sex trafficking, or it might be on the wars, it might be, it's like there's a wave, and next minute there's a whole lot of stuff going on about that, you know, and then something else comes in, and it's like the next thing, we're on to the next thing. And in those moments, there's these big deep dives that we're all doing in that holding space, and releasing what it is that we've got still sitting in there, but also like holding it, like I was saying, for humanity, for more of those in it on the planet to go through and clear that out. So it's any wonder we get exhausted, and it's really, really important to look after ourselves and to take time out and just really hold yourselves, you know, and ourselves, so we can rejuvenate to the best we can to move through this, because we're doing it on a mass level. It's not just you personally. You all here are doing it for humanity as well, and the
Very much.
planet. So it's huge. It's
It
a
is.
lot of work.
It's a massive. Still, you can't underestimate what's going on at the moment. You know,
No.
energetically, there is so much change happening within not just humanity, but we have to remember something. It's not just humanity who's going through a huge change. These galactic beings that we stem from, that we hold a lot of DNA, that's some of it's still sitting dormant in our energy system, but gradually it's all beginning to wake up. Our energy system is a lot of our energy system has been dormant, not just physically, but energetically. There is aspects to our energy system that's opening up as frequency rises. And a lot of this does have a relationship to that DNA that we stem from other cultures, other species. Look, I've just one example. A little while ago, I had a client that came in. She was dealing with some emotional stuff, and we did that. But she asked me if I could see anything energetically that was going on, kind of about level with the middle of the lung, but underneath the rib cage on both sides. So pretty much under the arms. But and I looked in there energetically, and I could see this little fluctuating energy on both sides. And then this galactic being showed up from behind her, and this was when a lot of DNA was starting to activate. And Anyway, he showed up and he showed me what it was about. So it was relating to him, to his species, that is part of that DNA that we carry. And it actually related to an organ. And what I was seeing in her energy system was kind of what you would see when, say, a leg is removed, through amputation. There's still the energy there, like I guess you could say, the phantom energy, or the part of the energy system that still exists beyond the physical. And this phantom energy is from his culture, from his species, because he was an interdimensional being that when he moves from one, let's say, reality to another, the environmental energy can be toxic. So he has lungs just like we do, but he also has these little organs which are filters for the lungs, and it allows him to survive for a period of time in a toxic environment. And he was showing me this is what she had, was a phantom pain, or a phantom energy feeling from the organ, and it was exactly where his organ is. And it was, this sort of thing is happening more and more. So as it's not just about DNA waking up, it's our energy systems are changing. It's actually quite incredible. One of the big things that's been going on for a lot of people is the glands within our bodies have been waking up on a higher dimensional level, because the glands are here to keep us in homeostasis. But what's been happening is, as these organs, sorry, as our frequency rises, and as this DNA is activating, the DNA can't just go, yep, integrate, no problem. It actually needs our glands to be activated at a higher dimensional level, which is what they've been doing over quite a long period of time. They actually help that DNA to integrate, that is waking up. And what's been going on is people have been having physical experiences that doctors can't work out what they are. So experiences like waking up at 2, 3 in the morning. This is not all the time, but spasmodically. What appears like tinnitus, sometimes vision, blurred vision, and again, spasmodic, heart palpitations, high-low blood pressure, abnormal, spasmodic, again, adrenal overload when there's no reason for adrenal overload. And particularly for women, monthly cycle going just off the charts. Maybe they're quite regular, and it could be very heavy for a period of time and quite painful. This is the sort of thing that's been going on for many years now. And this is actually the glands pretty much doing flip-flops, just waking up. And so the common thing has been people that have been feeling this stuff have been going along to doctors, which, naturally we do go to doctors sometimes. They don't know everything, but they have their purpose. So we get blood tests, or they suggest getting blood tests. The blood tests come back normal. I know an alternative doctor that I work with, and she, when I started to tell her about this, she goes, "Oh, now I know why I've been sending my clients off for blood tests all the time, and they're coming back normal. It's actually just our energy system adjusting to this DNA waking up." And so this stuff's massive. And we're just scratching. I'm just scratching the surface with what I've been telling you. So it's so powerful. And these galactic beings that are watching us now and observing us, they're really eager of where we're going. We're growing faster than they expected us to grow spiritually, and it's surprised them. So that in itself is pretty exciting. But they're looking forward to the time very soon when there'll be far more interactions between us and them. So
Yeah. And one of the other things that I've been seeing with different ones too is living in multiple bodies on the planet. So not just experiencing one life, one body, they're in multiple bodies. And these are a lot with the younger children, the little kids. But also have had many clients over the years who are also experiencing here, but also experiencing from their planet, or a planet that they're also living on. So they're living, and they're not actually so much parallel lives either. They're not something that's happening there that they're wishing to happen here. It's like there's major stuff going on that planet and in that life that is definitely having an effect on this one, because there's always going to be that connection. But that has been very interesting as well. And how they're basically, like when I looked into these children and their multiple lives, it was almost like a fast tracking, and they were in such extreme. So they're living in these beautiful, beautiful, loving homes, aware parents, all of that, and then their other bodies are in major war zones. And so there's this huge extreme that they're experiencing at one time, really. So, and creating a lot of disturbance in this peaceful world that they're living in this life, in this body, that they might be in that loving environment. So there's so many things. And once we move the emotional programs through and we shift that space, that DNA shifts as well. And that's the part that really starts activating. And it's not about activation because your light body's already activated, but what it does is it starts descending more into this form and creating, for me, and this is something that, you go away and check out, because, you take anything and leave it, whatever you want to do. But for me, the understanding that I have and seeing the shift within bodies on working energetically with them on tables over these years has been a huge teaching for me, and seeing how the bodies are shifting in this light state. So moving more into that higher light field, and how there is not a chakra system. So there's no chakra system once we get through into our superpowered, our own force. We become our own power pack in that toroidal field, that Merkaba body. And so therefore that chakra system, for me, what I understand and what I felt throughout time in experiencing that, is that there isn't a chakra system anymore. That chakra system was the system that connected you to that life force, as Matthew was saying and explaining. And it's held those evolutionary moments through our evolving states that we've come into. Like at this point in time, what we're up to is the heart chakra. So we're really moved through all of these chakras over many, many, many lifetimes in time. And this time we're in the heart chakra, and we're bringing that into an open space. And opening that, as you know, that's the major wounding we've had in the shutdown. So we're coming into that oneness space within heart. But in that space there, when we move through and our DNA switches enough, we've got our lighter body coming into play, which then has no memory. So your memory body is moved, and you're moving into a space where, you are more that light program, which is just that higher light space, which is all those higher frequencies, your higher state of love, you're living in that ecstasy and bliss and all those things that we might not quite move into just yet, but we are moving more into those places, and being more in that neutral space, and that and neutrality, which for me is that oneness space where we're in allowance of everything being in its perfect place and time. But that solar powered, you become your own solar power. And that's what I see. And so if you just test it out, like if you go underneath the chakra, if you're working energetically on a body on the table, and you move yourself down low enough under the chakra, there isn't a chakra, there's no chakra. And I was seeing that for years, and it was like, this doesn't sort of add up. It was quite conflicting, but knowing that was our suit for this time.
Well, that was important. That was interesting.
Well, like I say, take it or leave it. And it's a finding out for self too, like, And we might all have different views on things like that, but
Yeah.
mm,
So what I'm looking forward to is Mandy is going to take us through an experience. How long do you need for that, Mandy?
not too long. Oh, yeah, we'll be good for now if we wanted to now. Are there any other questions or anything though? Anyone?
Yeah.
Sharings?
We haven't even asked that. Has anyone got any questions for us?
Yeah.
Put a hand up if.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to ask, we may be able to ask later, but just Matthew, you coming to New Zealand, are you coming up to the north side at all at any stage?
Unfortunately, the highest I'm getting is New Plymouth this time around.
Yeah.
I would love to come up to Auckland next trip. I haven't been up there yet. No, I really look forward to coming up there. I've heard there's a lot more people up there, and it's a whole another world. So
It does.
uh,
Definitely do that, Matthew. Yeah.
yeah, no, I look forward to doing that. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take that on.
Good.
Anyone else got any questions about anything we've talked about today? We must have explained it really well, Mandy.
We must have. Yeah, I think so. And I think, I mean, it just rings a truth, really, doesn't it, everyone? You feel that within yourselves.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, no, you always do.
yeah, beautiful.
Kendra sent us a little heart. Thank you.
Oh, she did. Yes, thank you, Kendra. Beautiful. All right, so if you're ready to go, we'll go into that.
Okay.
And yeah, just get comfy because we're going to, just get comfy. And closing eyes when you're ready. And Matthew's done a great job of bringing you into the now and all of that. So we just take a couple of big, deep breaths and just become present, really present to your body, to you. And just coming into the calmness of breath, that natural flow that you are. Just mute you. Grant, thank you. Okay. So we're just going to connect up now with your grounding cord, which is just connecting into the spinal column. And just taking some big deep breaths as you do that and moving yourself or your awareness really into that spinal column. And just knowing that your grounding cord goes right down into the core of the earth. This is always with you. It is always who you are. You always have this grounding cord, even when you may feel ungrounded. Just bringing your awareness back to the grounding cord and you will be instantly grounded again, or feeling that grounding. And that grounding cord, that spinal column is just going to be like imagine now it being like an elevator. And you're just going to start moving down this grounding cord. This elevator is just going to gently take you down. Past the chakras, down through into the earth. And just breathing naturally as you go. And you'll feel yourself just descending down into this earth, into our beautiful Papatūānuku, this earth mother, Gaia, whatever name you give her. And just at its own pace, it's going to stop when it gets to the healing chamber within her body. And like any elevator, it has a door on it, and the door's going to open when it stops. And you'll enter into a room, and this room will be whatever it is it appears for you, knowing that you're now in the body of this beautiful, beautiful being. And there's a healing table, or you might see it as a capsule, that you're just going to go and lie down. So laying yourself there. And you may feel also some presence in the room. There may be some of your beautiful inner earth family. They're just there to assist. And as you enter this chamber, if you're just getting there, or if you're finding yourself climbing into your chamber, this healing chamber, your capsule or the table, whatever it is you feel comfortable, it may be a bed. And you'll notice this calmness in your body, being ever present in this body that you are. And this beautiful calmness that you are. Sometimes in higher frequency, you feel your heart sort of doing little flips, maybe beating quicker. Just allowing it to settle. If you feel that you need a comfy blanket over you, these beautiful inner earth family are going to assist you with that. You're so comfortable. And feeling that calm within, and coming into a very peaceful space within. So just allowing now and giving yourself permission to rest. Just giving yourself permission to rest. Just knowing that you're safe. And that you have this time. That you've given yourself this time. Just feeling this beautiful, calm, and healing energy. So if you imagine our beautiful mother nurturing, she's sending through this gorgeous vibration of nurture that just holds you. Such a gentle space. And just allowing now to feel this gentle and this gentleness that you are, this calm within that you are. And knowing that the space invokes rejuvenation. It allows the cells to rejuvenate. It allows the nervous system to settle and to reset itself in its highest and best. It allows the body, this beautiful earth body that you are, to come back into balance, stability. I'm just allowing now this time to ponder if this feeling of stability and balance, this calm and peace isn't in your life in the real world when you enter back up into your life. We bring you earth side. What is it that might be required for you to find this, to have this? Is it that you just give yourself more time? Or are there some things around you, some people around you, some situations around you that you may need to just take action on to make some change and create change? What might be required? Just allowing this rest and this calm to continue. Feeling this beautiful healing energy entering your being, entering your physical form, and aiding it into this balance and stability within. Now just thinking about your own self-care, how you care for your body, your mind, your spirit. Even just looking at how that is. What is that? What is it that you do? What is it you may be not doing? What else can you do in self-care? And just knowing that any resistance will leave. That this will automatically take place and shape for you because you have intention. And we call you to cease striving in the pursuit of happiness. We call you to engage with a purpose that is greater than you are for the benefit of humanity. You offer freedom to lead a deep, rich, and meaningful life. because that's who you are. And we call you to love and accept yourself without judgment, and just releasing with intention all the judgment you put on yourself. You offer freedom to love the life you live, because that's who you are. Just bringing the awareness of that peace within, that calm, that gentleness that you are. And allow the reset, the balance and stability. Taking some big deep breaths and feeling vitality, the vitality of your life force that runs through your body. And another big deep breath. Now just sitting up from that bed, that table, that capsule. And getting ready to come earthside once again. And enter into your life again with this stability, this rejuvenation, and this balance within. And just thanking and blessing your beautiful inner earth family for their assistance, giving thanks and gratitude to our gorgeous earth, our Gaia, our earth mother, our Papatūānuku, for her nurture, her abundance, her love. Finding your legs and standing up again and walking to the elevator door. Coming back into the grounding and breathing deeply into this beautiful body of yours as you're raised through this grounding cord in your spinal column from the inner earth up into this physical body in your form, this gorgeousness that you are. Settling back into the body, the physical body, feeling the seat beneath you, wriggling your fingers and toes, taking some big deep breaths. And just breathing. And opening eyes when you're ready. Are we back, peeps?
I'm back.
Lovely.
That was great. I went off.
It's a lovely place, eh? It's just
Mm.
beautiful. And honestly, you can just go there anytime you need to, and you can feel the healing happening in the body, eh?
Mhm.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, very good. I enjoyed that.
Does anybody like to share anything, any experience they had? I know it's a little bit of a ooh. Thank you,
Kendra's just
Kendra.
sharing. Yeah. Thanks,
Mm,
Kendra. Ah,
gorgeous.
hi, John. A face. Is there anything you'd like to share, John?
That was just an amazing experience, very, very deep. But probably the peace that I received is almost otherworldly, is probably the best way of describing it.
Mm, beautiful.
Well said.
Mm.
And that's similar to how I felt too, actually. Just I just wasn't here for a lot of that.
Mm.
I was hearing you, but I wasn't here.
No, it's beautifully relaxing, eh?
Mm.
Yeah. And I think really on that note, we will leave you with that because I can feel you all just still bringing yourself into that. So thank you so, so much for joining us.
Thanks,
And
guys.
it's been a beautiful honor to be able to share this with you all, and thank you for taking the time for coming in. Honestly, it makes a difference to have you all here with us, obviously, than talking to each other and out there to whoever we might be, but you don't see anybody. It's lovely to see faces and have you a
Yes.
part of it. Mm.
And it's been great to share, our knowledge. Mandy, I know, has been doing this for many years, so have I. And the reason we do this work is to help you guys and other people coming up through the ranks. And yeah,
Mm.
it's we need each other, and it's important that we work together. So
Yes.
Thanks very much, Mandy and Matthew. That was great.
pleasure, Grant.
Mm.
Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Mm.
Thanks, Senya.
Much, much love to you all.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
day.
Thanks, Kendra.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Tony.
John.